Hey guys, replacing a hub bearing assembly on a Dodge Ram 1500. It's 2003. These are pretty much brand new rotors that I had put on a couple weeks ago. Realized the hub bearings are bad. All I've done so far is just take the tire off and get the wheel off, and just take these two bolts off right here. I used a 22 millimeter socket, and these just hold on your calipers onto your rotors, and your rotors pop right off, especially if they've been new. Otherwise you got to beat them with a hammer for a couple minutes and then they'll come off too. Wasn't too bad. If you need a breaker bar to get those bolts off, I just use a end of a piece of fencing pipe. I just put it on the end of my ratchet here like this, and then you always see that, just like that. And I always just keep that in my toolbox. If I need a breaker bar, you just stick it on the end of a ratchet that you already have. Breaker bar, real easy. All right, so all right, let's get started. Now these this is obviously bad, real bad. You can see the if you look real close, all this is the bearing that has just pretty much, well, it's not really there anymore. So it's got this sound to it. That's all bad. Shakes. Real bad hub bearing. Time to replace it. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing you're gonna have to do on this vehicle, there are, see if you can see them. There's 3 bolts here, and they're I think they're 18 millimeter. So we'll just take those off, and that's what holds on your hub bearing assembly. So let's do that. Here's Diet Dr. Pepper. So cheers. There we go. A good way to show you what I'm doing. Yeah, like I said, you could use a breaker bar. Get this off if you need to. It wasn't that bad, really. I'll just jump ahead when I get these off. Also, so you know, these bolts that I'm taking off in the back here, they go clear through to the front of this hub bearing assembly. So don't lose them. A lot of times the hub bearing assemblies don't come with new bolts here, so you don't want to hang on to it, not lose it. Or you can go out and buy some new ones. That's what you want to do. And that's the last one. Yep. Alright, so don't lose these, because we're going to reuse them. Alright, and now comes the fun part here. And we don't really care too much about this, because we're going to be, this is junk anyway, so we're just going to beat the hell out of it, because these things are stuck in here real good until we get a little bit of separation. If you had some PB Blast or something, you might want to spray it on down, let it sit for a while. I don't have any on me, so I'm just going to start hitting it. See what happens. you're probably sitting here, like me, you're thinking, why didn't I just go to school to be a doctor and then just pay somebody to do this? Because this is stupid. But you gotta be patient, and it'll eventually go. All right, it is out. There it is right here. It took a whole lot of doing. This is actually day 2 of this job. It got dark on me. Neighbor came over, brought over some PB Blaster, sprayed that down. He also brought over a bigger hammer. So that helped, and we got it off. So next step is putting on the new one, and it's basically the same process, just in reverse. Still have our bolts over there. All right, let's get started. Oh, and we don't want to forget, we gotta put this thing back on. I'll have to bend this stuff back that got messed up with the hammering it off. We'll just bend it back, it'll be all right. So I'm just kind of hammering it back out. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing matters. I should also mention while I'm doing this, I had also did, since I had all this off, I might as well, this boot was torn on the old one. So it was torn pretty bad. And while I think it would have passed inspection, it was just a matter of time until that dried out, and then this was another problem. I didn't want to do this all over again, so I just went ahead and replaced it. And I just rented a ball joint press at O'Reilly, and you just got to pay a deposit, and they'll give you that back as soon as you return the tool. So I'm going to do here in a few minutes. But yeah, it's a good deal they have going on. All right, reassembly. All right, so I'm going to install this new thing, the new hub bearing assembly. And the one I have here has a ABS sensor, attached to it, but I don't have ABS in the front of my truck. So I'm just gonna cut it off with a knife right here. Just right there. And that's okay. But I'm doing that rather than take it all the way off, because that might leave an opening for maybe water or something to get in there, and I don't want it to have to do this again anytime soon. So I'm just gonna cut this off here, and then I'm gonna, you see I already put the whatever this is called, the shield back there on, and I put the bolts through to hold that in place, because it's a lot easier. So once I get it started, all right, so these bolts thread into these. See how it's threaded? So it just threads onto here, and this is kind of works like the nut for the other side of the bolt. Once that's done, then it's just reattaching the putting the rotor on top of this, and then putting the caliper back on the rotor, and then putting the tire back on, and then we're done, home free. So we should wrap this up pretty quick. All right, so that's all tightened up on there on the back. All these bolts are back in through there. I use my use this to tighten them up. Remember that trick? Tighten them up real good and tight, and listen to that. That's how it's supposed to be. So it's nice and smooth and stiff. Now we'll put on the rotor, caliper, wheel, and then we're done. And that's all there is to it. Hardest part was getting that old hub bearing assembly out of there. Gotta be patient. Must have beat on it for about 15 minutes before it came out. Doesn't look like it's going to, but it will eventually. The PB Blaster helped. But yeah, there it is. It's time to take the jack down and Go test drive and it should be good to go. There you have it. This is your librarian mechanic signing off.